This is Women's Tech Radio,
a show on the Jupiter Broadcasting Network interviewing interesting women in technology, exploring their roles and how they're successful in technology careers. I'm Paige.
And I'm Angela.
Angela, so this week, my friend Brienne joins us. She is a solo founder for the company Nerd Media, and she talks about her journey in technology, what it's like to be a solo founder a little bit, and just kind of the many hats that she has worn in her journey.
Awesome. Before we get into the interview, I want to mention DigitalOcean. They are the sponsor for this week. They are a cloud hosting provider dedicated to offering the most intuitive and easy way to spin up a cloud server. And let me just tell you, I was faced with a situation a couple months ago where my son turned 6 and was really into Minecraft and had been playing the Pocket Edition on his iPad, but it just quite wasn't enough. And of course, I think I might have been able to find a way to play with him via my iPad, but I'm not sure. But regardless, I wanted to get a dedicated server up and running so that he and I could play on the same maps. So I used a DigitalOcean droplet to spin up a Minecraft server that will always be up and running. They have locations for their data centers in New York, San Francisco, Singapore, Amsterdam, and London. I don't have to worry about if our house has a power outage. Well, I wouldn't be able to play at that point. But anyway, wherever the server is hosted, I don't have to worry about a power outage because the server will always be up and running in the cloud. And it's only $5 a month. And if you use the code HeyWTR, you can get a $10 credit, which is a 2-month credit. So think about the projects that you could use DigitalOcean for and use HeyWTR promo code for it.
And don't forget, if you already have a DigitalOcean set up but you haven't used one of our codes, go ahead and pop it in there. Sometimes it just might work. And our question for Brienne when we got started was to kind of give us an overview of what she does in technology.
Hi, I'm Brienne Smith. I am the current owner and web developer for Nerd Media. My company provides web design development, SEO work, brand consulting, social media marketing, and that is my current role in technology.
Awesome. So you're kind of a many hat wearer. Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I would. The entrepreneur side of me has definitely been coming out as each day progresses. But I really love technology, so I've just been kind of one of those closet nerds, if you will, just researching, doing things on my own, and then it's kind of given me the love for wanting to provide these services for people to get them to understand what the web is and how it can help their business.
So it was kind of the journey for you learning to understand that made you want to kind of help others do the same?
Yes and no. I went back to school later in life. I'm in my 30s now and just graduated in 2012. So when I first went to college back out of high school, I thought I wanted to write for Rolling Stone magazine. So I was doing journalism, music theory stuff back then. Which is great because now I still get to use my love for writing, but also and creativity, but just in a totally more technologically advanced way. So that's what I started doing. And then I moved from Indiana to Austin, Texas, and I started working for a nationwide property maintenance company. So I was managing 20 people at the time and had a portfolio of 7,000 foreclosed homes all over the country that I was maintaining. So it taught me a lot about professionalism, completing tasks on time, really kind of prepped me for that real world situation. And then from there, we moved out to Oregon, and I really didn't have a job or anything going on. So I thought, you know what, I am going to take my love for technology and see what I could do with maybe going back to school and starting a business of my own. My parents own a couple of furniture stores in Indiana, and they're actually who really catapulted me into wanting to start my own business, because as a small company themselves, they were paying this web company, quote unquote, that was really not doing much for them, $350 a month to maintain their website, do social media posts, things like that. And my parents were getting frustrated and not understanding why they weren't getting results, and this web company was helping them. So I asked, hey, I know a little bit about a little bit. Can I talk with them and maybe see what they're doing and use the big technical terms and kind of coax out of them what they're doing? And I called these people, and turned out they were just a marketing company. who said they can do web work and were outsourcing this web work
Oh my
to other
goodness.
people who knew nothing about my parents' business. They knew nothing about their business practices. And so getting off that phone call, I was the most frustrated I've ever been in my life for my parents, that they're this small company, they're older, they don't understand, the value of the web and what it can do for you. They know just from me harping on them that they needed a website. And at the time I didn't have my degree, so I didn't know all the ins and outs of it. So I literally went back to school solely to
Help your
kind of
parents?
negate these people. Yeah. Well, no, I actually don't like to do business with my family
Right?
because
Yeah.
I don't want to mix business with pleasure there. But it really kind of made me see what type of people are out there saying that they can do this stuff for people, for small businesses and build their brand and build their company, but in reality they're not doing anything. They're just taking money and saying that they're going to put this post up, and the post, even on their social site, has nothing to do with what their business is.
Yep.
So once my husband and I moved out here to Oregon, I thought, okay, I'm going back to school. I'm getting my degree in web design and development, and I'm going to start a company that has morals, wouldn't treat people the way that these so-called web companies were treating my parents, and really pride myself on kind of hand-holding a lot of my clients through this process, of understanding how their business can actually grow with putting a little money into the website of it.
Right.
So I know that's a little long-winded, but
No.
kind of how I got into all this.
It sounds exactly like what I went through with my mom, and because she's self-employed, she's owned a restaurant in downtown Seattle for 20 years now, I think.
Oh,
Anyway,
wow.
yeah, and she recently was on the, I need the social media aspect, and I was the one that forced her to do a Facebook page, and she's really popular on there, and she posts her specials there every day. But then a social media company, just like you said, came along and was like, we can build your brand and whatever, and she went for it, and it's really not yielding anything. So
It seems like a market that's
man.
so easy to take advantage of people because you just have to use some jargon and
Yep.
You're exactly right. And they think, oh, wow, they're using all these great buzzwords that I've heard that word before, but I don't really understand it. And so, it took a lot of me sitting down with my parents and getting them to understand how they were taking advantage of my parents, because they didn't even really understand what they were or weren't doing, to be honest with you. So I was so frustrated. Seriously, I was just horribly frustrated for them, and knowing that there's hundreds of companies, probably thousands of companies like that out there, where they're just outsourcing everything. It really doesn't give that personal touch, and it really just makes me feel like all these small businesses are just giving away money and not getting anything in return, and then giving a sour taste in their mouth about what the web can do for them.
Right.
So I'm gonna pick your brain then. What's a good thing to watch out for? Like if I can't necessarily work with you, like how do I know, like if I own a business or something, like what's the difference between working with someone like you and someone who's gonna take advantage of me? Like, how can I tell the difference?
A big thing is reading the name of their company. If they have the word marketing in their company, 9 times out of 10, they are a marketing company. If they can offer web services, that's great. But I would, as a small business, I would talk to them about what their services provide and who is providing those services for me. Is there a point of contact I can call and talk to that person who is building my site, and have them explain to me why it looks this way, or talk to them about how I want it to look differently. If they're impersonal with you and I have to get back with you, and 13 emails later, they're still not answering your questions. If they're dodging questions, dodging answers, things like that, those are big signs, really, for me at least. And knowing that they're just solely in for marketing and that $100 to $400 to $1,000 or whatever it is monthly fee that they're getting. And honestly, it's a gut thing too. If you're not getting the right service from somebody and you're not feeling like they're really being helpful, that's another big key point that they probably don't know what they're talking about.
So you started out in hoping to do music journalism, and you ended up in web design and development, essentially, right? What does that transition look like? Why have you always been nerdy? Were you the kid with the Commodore 64, like hacking away at the keyboard? What does that look like for you?
Well, for me, I wasn't, I was always into, we always had, my dad actually has always been very much so up on the technical side of things. Like we always had the latest, greatest TVs and radios. And as soon as the computer came out, we had the best computer, desktop in our house at the time. So, which was huge, mind you. And
Oh yeah.
so, I always have been interested in it, but I don't think I really grasped the understanding and really the power of technology until I was working for that management company. And we had the property management company, and we had such a cool system we used on the back end. And I saw just really how it helped their business, that kind of pushed me forward and shifted my gears. Like I said, I'm in my 30s, so it really shifted my mind into thinking, okay, how can this benefit every company out there? And so I really, I've always dabbled. I love video games, like always played video games as a kid, but I really don't think it was until I got older and understood how it could compute to business that made me really want to start doing this as a career.
All right, so I got to ask, what was your favorite video game as a kid?
I mean, I'm old school though. I didn't do I got
well, we're
a
equally
little bit
old school in this room.
Yeah,
so.
we're your age too.
Okay, cool. So I was more in, I loved Mario and Duck Hunt and, all that stuff too. But, I love like
Donkey Kong. Say Donkey Kong.
Yes. I was going to say Donkey Kong, but I just am aging myself here. But, yeah, Donkey Kong, all those little games I love to play. Mario Brothers, of course, was my, that's true to my heart. So
Yeah.
that's what I always
No,
played.
I still know how to get to all the warp zones, right?
Me too.
Yep, totally. Yeah, Mario, Legend of Zelda, and original Tetris on the Game Boy for me. Those were the big ones. Especially in competitive mode, because I still have yet to meet anyone who can beat me on Tetris in competitive mode. Which is not normal mode, people. It's different.
What about Punch-Out? Anybody play Punch-Out all the time?
Nope.
No?
I like we had the Olympics, we had the power mat. And so the Olympics thing was definitely better than Tetris.
Yeah, I remember that now.
That's way cooler.
Wow.
Yeah. Although I learned very quickly, as did my little sister, that running on the power mat was not nearly as fast as sitting next to the power mat and hitting it with your hands.
Oh
like
my gosh.
bongos.
Yeah.
Much, much faster. You can get way farther. And then you can jump infinitely because you just lift your hands. And on the long jump, you just win.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Gosh,
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
cheating.
What? Where were you growing up?
Massachusetts. in a
Video
basement.
game hacks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you can't go outside in the sun because you're a ginger, you have to do something in the summer. So do you still play video games?
Yeah, I do. And of course, I've stayed true to Nintendo, so I just have a Wii because I literally, that's how much I love Mario Brothers. I will play every single one
Have
that
you played
comes out.
the new Mario titles where you can play like 4 players simultaneously?
What?
I don't have a Wii U, so I'm not sure if that's new
Nope,
with the
it's a Wii
U.
title.
Huh.
It is, okay.
Yeah, you got to
I
check it
haven't
out.
played it.
Yeah, you can play 4 players simultaneously, and when you have a Yoshi, you can eat the other players and then spit them.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
I'm typing this right
So
now
if you-
so I don't forget.
You folks at home haven't tried it out. It's old now, and I think they just put out another new one, but I don't have a Wii U either. So what do you use as tools to get your job done? I know because we've talked before that you use WordPress, but either what do you use in WordPress? What sort of text editor do you use? What helps you get your job done?
So text editor wise, I love Sublime Text and Notepad++. Those are both my go-to text editors and things like that. But I do love WordPress, and I love to work on content management systems, especially for my clients, because it really helps them be able to feel like they have a grasp on their website, and even go in, if I teach that, I can teach them how to go in and make their own blog posts, their own changes, and then they don't have to utilize me or pay me money, especially if they're a little bit on the tech savvy side. So that's why I use WordPress and why I love WordPress.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like to tell people, I'm like, if you can post on Facebook, you can learn enough WordPress to help yourself out.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I'm actually I just got done before this walking through my last client with his blog and getting him up to speed with everything. And he made his first blog post and uploaded the images and everything himself. And knows how to change the sidebars to what it needs to be. So it's really empowering for me to see them, get it and smile and understand that they're in charge, and not, it's not just me, it's them. So that's why I love WordPress so much. I mean, it's got its faults as far as security sometimes, but other than that, I mean, as long as you have a good security plugin in place, you're good to go. But then I love like Illustrator and Photoshop and stuff. I do all of, I love those for design and doing mock-ups and things like that. That's about all I use.
Did you learn most of that in your school program, self-taught? Did you have like online resources?
I'm mostly self-taught. So I loved school. I think that's where my nerdiness comes from, is because I always loved school as a kid. I never missed a day of school from kindergarten to my senior year.
Wow.
Got a special nerd award for that at the end of
That
my
is a
senior
very
year.
special nerd award.
Yep.
I still have it. And but yeah, so I think, my love of school really carried me through, getting through college this time and helped me be more successful. I don't want to tell someone who is in school that they shouldn't be in school, but honestly, the type of work that we do, a lot of it is self-taught, and you have to continually educate yourself after school even, to keep up with the latest trends and keep your ear to the ground with technology. So it's not to say that I'm not glad I didn't, went to school and got my degree, but, to be honest with you, most of the stuff I've learned has been self-taught. I use lynda.com a lot for things that I don't like to tell my clients no, ever. So if I don't know it, I don't tell them I don't know it. I just research and learn and try, and charge them less for that, since I have to do more education time on my end. So that's, kind of how I feel like I'm more successful in this industry, because I am so willing to learn, so much more willing to learn all of the new technology that's out there.
So do your clients basically use you to get up and running, or I guess, do they do that and then they're on their own, and you also have continuing customers where you actually do this stuff for them?
Yes. So I kind of am a one-stop shop. I think Paige said, a woman of many hats. I can do a full service as far as if someone just comes to me and they're like, I don't want to understand this, I don't care to understand this, I need a new website. I can do their hosting for them. I do hosting, reselling, and also set up their domain, buy their domain, set up everything from scratch. And then I can either help them maintain that every month if they want me to, or like I said, teach them how, and they can do that. And I take a back seat unless there's an emergency, I'll come back in. But then there's that flip side of things where someone's already up and running. And like my main client that I've had her for 2 years. And when she came to me 2 years ago, she had a web designer who was getting frustrated with her. I love her with all of my heart, but she's more into the pretty side of things and not the technical side of things, which is fine. But I don't think it translates well if a web person isn't able to kind of speak to her in those layman's terms and really get her to understand it and why she has to pay this money.
Right.
So that web person left her and took her entire website down.
Oh.
So and so she was stranded with no website, and she runs a very high-end salon, and so she was completely stranded with no website. So I came in, got it back up because it was a WordPress site. I was able to recover it, and and since then have helped maintain her site, and I'm rebuilding that one plus a new one for her for a separate salon she's doing currently. So I've been working with her for 2 years, and it's been great. So I love the ongoing stuff, but I'm able to just do one quick fix for clients, and then they can go about their business if they don't need me anymore.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it sounds, I don't know what this is, but I think that, if you have a small business, working with other small businesses for your other services is really beneficial for both parties usually. Like, as a small business, you can do things that as a giant business, someone might not be able to because they're tied up in red tape or corporate policy or whatever, like some marketing company that has all these standards and SOP and jazz.
Exactly. I really like it because you can really, dive into their culture and kind of really get to understand their company. And so I think that I do better work when I understand the business, obviously, and understand what their mission is and what their goals are. It helps me to really format the site to help their end user a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Even as a developer, like, people think, oh, but you're just making like computer stuff work, because I don't really do design, or when I do, it's terrible. But even understanding like what the user experience is supposed to be, and necessarily like the client doesn't always know what they want in the experience. They're just like, this is what we do, like, and these are the customers I have, and being able to kind of craft that. I can do so much better when I can sit down and have, talk time with them and get to know their business or stop by their business or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I really love that so much more than, because I have lived in many states. So a lot of my clients are out of state. And so there's something to be said about sitting down and having like a cup of coffee or tea with somebody and explaining their business versus being, on Skype or something like that. Because there can be like distractions and they're not really into it, so if I can get somebody to focus with me, it goes a lot easier.
Have you ever been to a sewing retreat?
I have not, but I do love sewing.
I recently went to a sewing retreat and it was so much fun. It was just 2.5 days of sewing, and it was just amazing. But what do you like to sew?
I like to sew anything. I love to make clothes. That's what I started doing as a young girl. My mom made all my baby clothes when I was a kid. And then she made these awesome dolls that she would sell to get more fabric to make my clothes.
Wow.
So I learned from a very young age. Yeah, it's just really awesome. But I learned from a young age, how to sew and how, to work around a sewing machine. But in more recent years, I've been teaching myself to knit and crochet a little bit. It's not my strong points, but sewing machine is my strongest point. And I love to sew anything from pillows to clothes to anything.
Cool.
I have a love-hate relationship with sewing and crocheting. I'm amazing at sewing and crocheting in straight lines.
Yeah.
But not turning. So if you have a pattern that is straight lines, I actually sew very well. Like it was part of theater degree is that you have to do costuming.
Ah, right.
I know how to do all the seaming and all the edging, but if I have to turn, not as good. So pillowcases, awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, just a square.
Oh yeah. Yep, no problem there. Very fun.
Well, you'll have to tell me more about the sewing retreat. That sounds really cool. Can you bring whatever type of sewing stuff?
Yeah.
Or
You just
okay.
In this case, it was about 25 women, and we went to Warm Beach, which is here in Washington, and we rented out a bunch of rooms, and we just set up, and we were able to keep our setup in this banquet room all weekend, and the beach front was right there. It was amazing. And all the meals were
awesome.
Catered. Yeah, it was. I ate so much. I thought that I would literally weigh 5 to 10 pounds more when I was done. But I actually lost a couple pounds because I would go for a walk on the beach after eating, which speeds up your metabolism. And it was awesome.
I just wanted to ask one more thing. If there is one thing in technology that kind of is either coming down the pipe or gets you really jazzed now, what is it?
Wearables. I'm all about wearables right now and like the power that they have.
So how's your Apple Watch?
I don't have an Apple Watch. I'm an Android fangirl.
Ah, okay.
I have been Android from the start. We do not even have any Apple products in our house until my husband had to get a work phone. And I said, well, get an iPhone so I can test my websites on it and stop using emulators.
Perfect. Right? That works.
So do you have an Android watch?
I do. But I started out with like Fitbits and, other things like that. But I really love the blending of the fitness side of things with the nerdy tech,
with the
smartwatch side of things.
Yeah. So do you have the Pebble? Is that Android? I don't even know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's actually what I have. Yeah, I'm waiting for the 2 to come out
agnostic.
though.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Waiting for the Pebble 2.
Nice. I'm a little intimidated. And so Angela in studio has the Apple Watch, and I keep watching her flip it, and it looks really shiny and stuff, but I'm a little intimidated because I have found in my life right now where I'm trying to get a lot of high quality work done, like the less notifications I can have in my life, the better off I am. Like, how do you balance that, the two of you?
I have certain people disabled for notifications, and Telegram, it can only tell me so much on my watch, and I can't respond to it. So mainly it's come in handy, like if I'm at the bus stop and trying to get Dylan off the bus and push a stroller, I can just look at my watch real quick and see a notification or know that somebody's available.
Yeah, I agree with you on the integrating of the watch with my phone. I think, especially for me, like working out more and stuff, I use my phone, or excuse me, my watch a lot more for that than I do, my phone. I can keep it nearby, but not have to carry my bulky phone around. And then as far as like, I use my phone more for like long-winded emails, but if I just need to send something really fast, I can use my watch. So, or just, notify my husband really quick, I'm on my way, or, anything like that. It's a lot easier on my phone to just reply with a little emoji or something than it is to pull out my phone, like you were saying, and mess with that. So it's just it's an ease of use type of thing for me. It's anything to make my life easier. I'm all for it.
And I was wearing a Fitbit as well up until I got the Apple Watch. And in fact, I wore both of them for 2 weeks. On the same wrist because I just didn't want to let go of the social aspect of Fitbit.
Well, you can still use the phone for Fitbit.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, it still had. So I still use my Fitbit at night for sleep though.
You can use both.
Really? Okay. You'll have to show me how to set that up because I have no idea.
Yeah, I like Fitbit, but I don't own a Fitbit device anymore because I never got the wrist one and they're small and I lose everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, so you guys have me interested. I have one other question. Were either of you watch wearers before you got your smartwatches?
I was not at all. I don't even wear earrings anymore. I just wear my wedding ring. So it is like the only other thing besides, my wedding ring I wear.
I wanted to be, but I am 1, allergic to nickel, I believe, and 2, I have very acidic skin. So any watch I'd wear, it would literally corrode the metal.
Wow.
Like it's weird.
Really?
It's not like the metal would like wear away. The metal would like explode from inside. Like it would like a barnacle, like it was so weird and it would cause rashes and stuff. So I stopped wearing, but I have the sports band Apple Watch, which isn't metal at all. And so far I've had no irritation from the back of the watch where it's metal.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if your Apple Watch explodes. If it does,
I know, right? Well, it
pictures.
doesn't literally explode, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So I would, I love having a watch.
Yeah, interesting.
A friend of mine has the Apple Watch and he has tattoos on his wrist and they're very dark as it gets down to his wrist. So he actually has to wear it on his other wrist because it won't read.
Yeah, it can't
his
read
wrist because
the...
there's dark. Yeah,
because it's an optical heart rate monitor, so it literally can't read through your skin. I think that they've adjusted it so that people of darker color are okay, but tattoos are too much.
Wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Ink is still too much in the way.
Huh?
Yeah, because it's based on the same technology that they use in hospitals, where they've clipped the little pulse monitor to your finger.
Right. But I didn't think about people of darker color. Like it's kind of like Band-Aids coming out with skin tone, but only for Caucasian.
And correct me, audience, if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, it works for skin, but tattoo ink, especially in the very dark colors, is too much because it's several layers of problems.
Oh.
And I'm pretty sure you're right that they've fixed the darker skin, but just not the tattoos. And his are like 2 big, huge black lines that come down towards his wrist. So
Yeah.
Not good. But I actually read this morning that, Google is actually trying to get this tiny, tiny little radar system that actually like can sense your hand gestures and stuff. So that because I guess in their mind, smartwatches and stuff aren't taking off as well as they should be. And so, because it's more like, early adopters and stuff like that, like us that, really, really want new technology and stuff that are getting it, not so much the general population. And so they're trying to be, and I guess Google's thinking behind it is that there's such tiny little touch screens that it makes like the device difficult to control it, I guess. And so they're developing this radar system that can sense hand gestures instead of having to just put your finger on the screen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Women's Tech Radio. Remember that you can find the show notes with full transcription over at jupiterbroadcasting.com. Just go to the show's drop down and select Women's Tech Radio.
You can also use the contact form on the webpage. Just select Women's Tech Radio to get in touch with us, or shoot us an email at wtr@jupiterbroadcasting.com. You can also find our show on iTunes, and you can follow us on Twitter at HeyWTR. Thanks for listening.